How you doing, guys? It's your friend here, John Madrid, with the podcast. Again, we're streaming it against all of our platforms or all over our platforms. También les quiero recordar que si hablamos español, aquí estamos para asistirles y ayudarles. Again, guys, just reiterating that we are bilingual here. And again, this is our Friday. Today's July 25th. It's been an amazing month. We want to give a shout out to all of those clients who trusted us clearly to move in next. But again, this podcast, again, even though we're streaming over all platforms, it's not to sell you anything in particular. It's about educating you guys on what Move in Next University is. And I'm saying it kind of slow just to point out that, of course you can see, let's take a look this way. You can see over here in the corner, we are Move In Next. We do help families move in next, but we want to provide value, okay? Because we are the virtual dealership that sells all kinds of housing, manufactured, anything and every to watch, okay? Or want to buy, I'm sorry. But even then, I want you guys to notice at the very top, you're going to see the link to our YouTube channel. Make sure you go ahead and click the bell, subscribe, and of course, follow us on all platforms because we are streaming right now on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, basically every single platform available. In the affordable housing market, but we want to make sure to. So that's what the Move In Next University podcast is for. And of course, if you watched episode 1 last Friday, we talked about basically a generality of what it does, but we turn those disqualifications or, non-approvals into approvals with the university that we have available. All right. So today's episode is titled Turning That Not Yet into a Solid Yes. All right. So I'm going to move on over here to this slide so that you guys can follow me along here. So again, Move In Next University. Make sure as you are tuning in, you like it, you share it, and of course, you follow us on all the different platforms. But again, Move In Next University. And then this episode is talking about turning in that dreadful denial into an approval, right? Because of course, in a perfect world, 100% of you guys get approved the very first time that you apply. And that's one of the main reasons that we do not charge deposits. We use our MH Abstract system where it's super easy, regardless of where you are. You could be on the couch, at home, at the bar, at work, whatever the case may be, so that it makes it simple. You don't have to take days off. You don't have to do any of that. And we like to, as me and Joy Angel always say, try to request, or we don't try, we request from the lenders, what is the maximum amount that you will let our clients borrow based on the application provided with the least amount of money down? In other words, the max approval with the least amount of money down. Because that's the point, right? Nobody wants to get the least amount of loan with the most down. We want to get you the most house without out-of-pocket expenses, or at least minimize those, okay? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be talking about turning in that not yet into, or it says right here, turning the unfortunately into a congratulations, all right? So why you got denied and what you can do about it. So again, guys, I'm not trying to sell you a house on this episode. I'm not trying to do that. Of course, we do sell homes, but the most important part is to provide you the information and the value on why it is important to go ahead and apply first, right? So you'll see the QR code. You'll see it also. As a matter of fact, let me take that down. That way it doesn't cover up the slide, but you'll see it there. You'll see it there. And then right below our YouTube channel, which again, we're building our subscribers there. We had about 80,000 people go through the channel last month. We really appreciate that. We're trying to get to 100,000, then 200,000. But at the end of the day, is provide value, okay? So turning the unfortunately into congratulations. Now, what does that mean? It means that if you don't get approved right now, most other dealers, number one, they're just going to toss you to the side, tell you, hey, go fix these problems, go do whatever it is you need to do, and then come back and see us, right? So what we like to do, number one, is have you apply. We don't ask for any money out of pocket. And we tell you, hey, let us get you that max approval with the minimum down. Now, in the small chance that they turn you down, because again, sometimes, you might just not have everything that you need put into place quite yet, but it's just a matter of having somebody hold you accountable and guide you through the process. So right here, it says common reasons mortgage applications get denied. So of course, low credit scores, right? It says missed payments, collections, short credit history. So a lot of times when you think about it, you might be saying, well, my score is not where I'd like it to be. Okay. Well, the good thing is the lenders that we utilize, right? We have about a dozen lenders. And that's the reason when it comes to buying a house, it's the one product that you can buy where it doesn't hurt your score to shop to multiple lenders. Now, I'm not encouraging you, and you can, to go to every single dealership and let them all run your credit, because at the end of the day, do you want to spend your days off going in, getting bad service, not really getting answers, being requested a down payment or a deposit before you're even shown numbers, approvals, or anything like that? But again, before I go too far off topic, low credit score is one of the reasons that you could be, denied or not qualified right now. But we do have in-house credit repair specialists that can fix the scores, tweak them. We have one of our, preferred lenders. He's amazing. He'll give us pointers to say, hey, if the client does this, this, and this, which a lot of times it's super easy, it'll gain them 40 points. So that can go from being a denial to an approval, or from needing, let's say 15%, I'm just making a number up, 15% down to 5%. So again, that's what Move In Next University is all about. So I'm going to go ahead and make this screen a little bigger. Now, large recent purchases. Now you got to be careful whenever it comes to buying stuff, right? Because if you go out, first of all, I've seen it happen a lot. Customers will go buy a car or a truck first and then try to come buy a house, and then they don't budget. They have a DTI issue, like where that car payment, that's nowadays car payments can be super pricey. It might be $1,000 or $1,200 a month for a car or a truck, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but they do not qualify you for a vehicle the same way they do for a house. So if you are in the market for a home, again, it's not like I'm not trying to sell you a specific house right now. I'm trying to encourage you that if you're in the market for a house, go ahead and apply right now while we're watching this podcast. Let us do what we do best. Let us request that max approval with the minimum down. And if you get turned down, we have Move In Next University. That's why we're doing this podcast, right? So, and that way we can walk you through it, because those lenders, what they're doing whenever they turn you down, because maybe there's something on the report, again, could be score, could be recent, big purchases or something like that. They'll tell you, hey, you need to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G to go ahead and make sure so we can get you approved, or so we can get you more house. Okay. So again, the biggest, largest purchase you want to make first is a house. Don't worry about that new car yet. It's better to have a new home or even a pre-owned home than it is to buy a vehicle first. Now, if I'm not saying not to buy a vehicle, I'm saying that the order in which you do these items matters. Because if you're going to buy a house, buy the home first. That way, they do your budget. You don't have any new car payments or any new debt recently. Then go ahead and buy the car after. Because as long as they don't really budget you, because it's a shorter term. So after you have the house, you're not having to settle for a smaller home because you bought them out of order, right? So again, these are some of the reasons that mortgage applications get denied. So as you guys tune in, I can see 2, 3, 4, 5 of you guys logging in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all the different platforms. Okay, so unstable employment history, gaps or frequent job changes. Now, don't let that discourage you. When I say recent job history or unstable, employment history, think about it like this. Let's say that you're a CDL driver, and I'm just using that as an example. and you switch jobs from one place to another place because they're going to give you more overtime or they're going to give you, better per hour. There's nothing wrong with that. You definitely need to be looking for the best opportunity in your employment, if that makes sense. Okay. Now, on the flip side, give me 1 second here. On the flip side, let's say that last week you were a cook. Nothing wrong with that. This week you're a driver. Next week you're a school teacher. The week after. Now that's going to show inconsistency. Now, that doesn't mean settle on your dreams or don't go out and, get a better opportunity. That just means think twice before you change to another opportunity. Because if it's not something you actually want to do, then don't do it, right? Now, it sounds like I'm giving you personal advice, but I am, because it matters. You have to have good job history to be able to purchase a house. Now, that doesn't mean if you hear this and you're like, well, I just changed jobs 2 weeks ago, that means that shouldn't apply. No, I'm telling you, apply now so we can figure out the buying power, the maximum approval, the minimum down payment, so we can figure out what we need to do to get you in a house, or maybe we already do, right? Or if you have friends, brothers, sister, mother, cousins, uncles, aunts, we pay very handsomely in referral fees. Again, this information is great, but it's only hypothetical until you apply. That's the reason we started the podcast. That's the reason we're streaming it over all of our platforms. Number one, so we can show you that we're not just here to sell homes. Of course we are, but we're here to help families increase credit scores. Make sure to guide them in the order of the purchases that they're supposed to make. Talk to them about their employment history and what tweaks they can make to look stronger on the application. Okay. All right. So then the next one says insufficient income, not enough to qualify for the desired loan amount. That goes back to those large recent purchases. It also goes into unstable employment history. And believe it or not, even with good credit, right? You can have an 800 credit. And again, I'm not discouraging you. I'm encouraging you and educating you. If you have a 800 credit score, okay, but you recently bought a car first, and you've changed jobs 6 times in the past 6 months, you might not have enough income left, even though your score is high and in ideal situation, perfect. But a lot of times what I've seen from my experience, and it's not a bad thing, is people with high credit scores, they'll co-sign for other people. They're trying to help them out or whatever the case may be. And then when it comes to their turn to buy something for themselves, they're overextended because they don't have enough income to be able to afford something for themselves, if that makes sense, because they borrowed that perfect credit score for someone else. So again, be very, very cautious on who you co-sign for. I wouldn't recommend it at all, right? Be careful the order of the large purchases that you're making. Buy a house first, then worry about the furniture and the cars and all that. Try to stay, and I say try to stay, in a career path that you enjoy, that you love, that you can see yourself in long term, so that the income you do make is sufficient to be able to get the house that you actually want. Okay. Now, the next thing is talking about, which I kind of skipped ahead a little bit, is high debt to income ratio. What that means, and we'll do a different episode with more examples, but if you have something to write with, just imagine, for the most part, your debt to income ratio for housing is 43%. So I'm going to just say, just using a number, I'm going to say 10,000, okay? And just because it's an easy number to do math on. 43% of that 10,000 would be 4,300. So if you're saying, well, I don't make 10,000, I make 5. Okay, well then half of 4,300 would be what? 2,150, okay? That's how much you're able to utilize towards a home purchase, but they subtract car payments, credit cards, all that. Then whatever is left over is what you're able to utilize towards a home purchase. So you can see how it can affect you negatively to go and buy that car first, or to go buy all that furniture for your house that you want, but you haven't bought yet. Start with the biggest purchase of your life first, which is a home. Apply with the place that doesn't beg you or try to hustle you. And I don't mean beg you. I mean, of course, we want your business, but tells you, hey, I'm not even going to start helping you until you leave me $1,000 deposit. or I'm not going to do this. They'll tell you everything that they won't do, but not tell you the things that they're willing to do. And that's what we're here doing. We're educating you on Move In Next University through this podcast and explaining to you all the different things that we provide in this university. Okay. So again, common reasons mortgage applications get denied, low credit scores, which we fix that here, large recent purchases. We can't stop you from buying the things you've already bought, but we can definitely advise you in the order of what to buy. All right. Unstable employment history. Now, that's going to be a little trickier because it'd be like, well, how can you stop me from having unstable employment history? By educating you on this podcast. Because again, some people, they don't even realize that job hopping all the time is going to make it harder for them to buy a home. Doesn't mean it's impossible. Another thing that I really want to zero in on is that every bank wants to loan you money for a home. Also, the average family, they buy 3 to 5 houses in their lifetime. So we may need to start with a starter home first before we go into your forever home. And a lot of times, I've seen clients, not mine personally, because I try to do a good job of educating them on what we need to do, is telling them, hey, if we have to move you out of the apartment, and I'm just making this as an example, move you out of the apartment that's a 2-bed, 2-bath that you're paying $1,800 a month in to get you into a 3-bed, 2-bath single wide in a community before we get you onto that acre of land on that big double wide. Let's make progress. Let's move you along because you're going to buy another house anyways, statistically speaking. All right. Insufficient income. We covered that by making sure that we buy the things that we're supposed to in the specific order that is of importance, not loaning our good credit score out to everybody who needs a car. So we keep our debt to income ratio low. All right. So let's move on to the next one here. So it says, no today doesn't mean never. So I'm going to make that big because that's a big deal, right? So let me go ahead and take off this thing over here on the design. I'm going to take the logo off so it doesn't break off. Okay. So there it says, no today does not mean never. Okay. It is very, very important that you guys realize that just because you get declined, if we didn't have Move In Next University, then yes, it might be never. If you go do business with another dealership who doesn't care as much as we do, and I'm not saying that nobody cares. I'm saying there are people out there that don't, right? So in that circumstance, if they say no or the lenders say no, and you don't have a plan of action put into place, then it might be never. Because I've met a lot of people that have been renting for 10, 15 years. And then I'm like, how come you haven't bought? Well, I'm just not ready yet. I don't think my credit's where it needs to be. Or the banks aren't loaning money right now, or the interest rates are too high, or whatever the case may be. And it is an emotional toll when you get denied, but you're not alone. That's the reason your friend here, John Madrid, with Move In Next and who's launched Move In Next University, knows that everybody has setbacks, right? We all have to fail before we can succeed. It's not about the destination, it's about the journey. Every, trip of 1,000 steps started with one. You've heard that. So in this stage, frustration, don't be, because we're here to help you. Embarrassment, don't be, because we've been in the same position. I know I have, as many of you might be right now. Hopelessness, we're providing you hope. So you don't have to worry about it. Those are common. Everybody feels frustrated from time to time. Everybody gets embarrassed every now and then. Everybody feels hopeless every now and then. It's common, okay? But the key is to stay focused and moving forward, right? Staying motivated, because at the end of the day, that's the kind of things that we need to do. All right. So progress over perfection. So it tells you right here, this is where we come in at Move In Next University. So it says, celebrate your small wins. Set realistic short-term goals, okay? So when I say celebrate your small wins, what we're talking about in that circumstance is we're saying, hey, if you're in an apartment now, just kind of think about the apartment or the family's home or wherever you're at now that you're not happy with. Think about it for one moment. Now, think about how it would feel to move in to your new or pre-owned home, which even if it is pre-owned, it's new to you, right? That's a small win. And in reality, it's not. It's a huge, huge accomplishment, okay? Because if you think about it, if you're celebrating small wins are doing this, going like this. Let me see here. All right. You know what? I'm going to take the 10 minutes that it's going to take to go ahead and apply. And then before you know it, you filled it out and you already applied with no deposit, not wasting your days off, going into stores, dealing with salespeople that you might not want to talk to. So setting a realistic short-term goal, you like that? Short-term goal is number one, applying. That's a small win. Number two is if you get denied, not letting it bum you out, none of that stuff, right? Because a short-term realistic goal is to move out of A to get into B. Now, even if, and I'm not talking about settling, because let's say, again, you're in a 2-bed, 2-bath apartment, and then you move into a 3-bed, 2-bath, single wide in a community where you might be like, well, I don't want to live in a community. And I'm not telling you to settle. Settling would be staying in the apartment that you're paying 100% interest on, right? Setting a short-term realistic goal is saying, you know what? I'm going to get out of this apartment, move in next. Already told me they'll buy me out of my lease. And if I get turned down, they'll go ahead and do move in yet next university at 75% off. And then, you know what I mean? And then after a year or two or whatever plan we set up together, we'll not only help you sell your home, we'll move you into your next one. All right. Because again, the most important thing is to improve your living situation. Because as hard as you guys work, you don't want to be coming home to a place where you're not happy. Okay. And you find a support system or an accountability partner. That's us. That's Move In Next University. Okay. That's Move In Next when it's time to buy a house, no matter what kind of home you want. And remember your why. Why is it that you want another home, or why do you want to buy a home? A lot of times it's because you need more space. You just got married. You have a new family member coming in, whatever the case may be. So with our help at Move In Next and Move In Next University, we make home ownership possible. And I say possible, guaranteed, as long as you follow the plan. You know what I'm saying? That's what we do. It's a guided step-by-step program, step-by-step program to help you transition from renting to owning, or from living in a house that you're tired of remodeling into one that doesn't need it. A customized game plan for improving your credit, your savings, applying it towards your new home, one-on-one support from real experts like myself and my team. That's what we're here to do. Access to resources, tools, and training. That's what we provide you at Move In Next University. So keep in mind that, again, make sure you click the link so you can follow us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. Because what we want to do at the end of the day is help you and your family move in next, okay? So the first steps that you can take today, all right? So talk to a housing advising or a credit coach. That's going to be us. Check your scores, report for errors, create a basic budget to understand where your money goes, and avoid big purchases or opening new lines of credit, all right? So number one is apply, okay? Because if you're even thinking about a house, apply. Because once we get the denial in, and hopefully we're just getting approval, but if we get the denial in, that's when you're going to talk to our housing advisor or credit coach, either be me or one of my staff. We'll look over your credit scores. We'll check to see if there's any errors. We'll create a basic budget to understand where your money's going. And we're going to make sure that you don't make any errors in the process of buying that new house, okay? So again, you can visit us at moveinnext.com. You can visit us, schedule a one-on-one, 432-201-1105. You can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Make sure to subscribe to this channel because, again, we do want to spread the word to as many people as possible about Move In Next University, because it's important for us to help you and your family move in next, because that's what matters to us. We want to sell you a home, of course, but we want to improve your living situation. And if it means that we take a path, right, within 6 months, 85% of the people that are going to graduate are going to move into a house. And if we need to do it a little longer because you need a little bit more help, it doesn't matter, because the time is going to pass anyways, okay? So again, guys, your friend here, John Madrid, with Move In Next, coming to you from this episode 2 of the Move In Next University podcast. Make sure that you share this with everybody that you know. Like, share, subscribe, so we can help more people like you and your family move in next. Thanks again.